I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy now.
I am happy, John.
Listen, here we may not mourn, but we definitely celebrate the wicked on this episode.
Not people.
Well,
the movie.
Listen.
Well,
I'm
rethinking some
Are they
things
born wicked, or do they have wickedness thrust upon them?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is John.
I'm Kendra.
And welcome to another edition of Ringside.
Ringside.
Oh.
So if you care to ringside, look to your audio podcast format.
See, I thought because you always take the lower harmony there. I always thought you were, or the lower pitch in that for whatever reason. I don't know why you do it.
Borat.
I figured you would maybe do like, welcome to Ringside.
You really what's that word? Over
the rainbow.
No, you exaggerate my ability to remember stuff like that. I don't fucking remember how the end.
I expect more from my men. I expect more from my people.
Your people? Sweetie, I'm not your people. Don't ever say that again.
Anyway, if you haven't gotten the fucking clue yet, you guys, we saw Wicked.
We're talking
all things Wicked. Welcome to the Wickedsode.
Yeah. You knew it was coming. I apologize if anyone's you must have gotten from now that we're theater kids. You must have gotten that from now.
I mean, not only do I talk about it here, and if we go back, if we ever get to a point where people are making compilations of us, please don't, first of all. But if you do, I'm scared of how many moments, especially openings of episodes, that start with me just busting out in some sort of show tune.
Yeah.
Specifically, I feel like there's been every time we talk about Wicked, I start off with, or I sneak in the beginning of Defying Gravity.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
If you haven't got it by now.
And whatever you guys experience through this medium, through TikTok, whatever, it's a fraction of what I go through. Imagine my plight. I can't click out of it.
You can't
swipe. I can't click out of it.
You can't swipe. You can't click out. You can't close the app.
It's stuck.
It's stuck on a loop.
10 years.
And
on a loop.
That's what you signed up for.
You know what?
Listen, people pay good money to get what you get. To
One
get what
time,
you have at home.
When we were really early into dating, I asked you to sing for me. Because, Mr. Big Shot sings so good. He's such a good singer. Let me hear it. Let me hear a quick 8 bars. Let me hear an audition cut. And he said, and again, this was like really early into us dating.
I took a gamble with this line, guys.
He's like, people pay good money for that.
I said people usually buy a ticket for that.
Yeah. And he didn't sing. Like, it wasn't like, ha ha ha, anyway, here we go. No, he just didn't sing for me.
What am I, a fucking animal? I'm just going to do what you want on command?
I don't think you've ever, sung for me, I request you to sing something and you sing it for me, in sincerity. You've dedicated songs to me before in performances and stuff. And you sing all the time. So whether I want you to or not.
So what's the problem?
I don't know. It's just interesting. But you know what? After that first time you said that, I was like, let me not ask him anymore. That is kind of his job. I learned.
Okay, 2 things. 1, I maintain, not a fucking circus animal. I'm not just gonna do what people. You got a piano out here for me? You gonna ask me what key I want to sing in? No, but also, Kendra, you do not like loud noises. You don't like loud noises, and you are very considerate of our neighbors. Do you think if I just started busting out in the song, I have a very tough time being quiet? You know this about me.
Have you ever considered just taking it down maybe 1 or 2 clicks on the old volume knob?
You're going to ask an eagle not to fly?
Shut up. See, this is why I never get a song, because this is what happens. Shut up.
Anyway. Well, look. I have been changed.
See, he'll sing for you guys.
I'm a performer. It's what I do.
Oh.
This is also for free.
Reconsider. John's like, I'm never singing on this again.
Anyway. But yes, we saw Wicked. Mm-hmm. And it is, of course, Wicked Part 1. We've got Wicked Part 2 coming out next year. Not sure when just yet.
I'm going to guess around the same time.
I would hope around the same time. Give us the full year. I could see them switching the date. I mean, the date might already be out there. I don't know.
Mama, let's research. I'll look it up. You keep talking.
But anyway, so if you weren't aware, which if you're listening to this, I assume you are aware and that you've seen the movie. But for those of you who may not be aware, we've got Wicked Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 just released this year, and it is the first act of Wicked. Now, of course, that's soundtrack-wise. They have very much, to my understanding, I've never seen the stage show itself, but to my understanding, they have really expanded what happens in Act 1 just to kind of fill out the story. And this is an instance of either adding stuff or taking stuff from the source material, like the original, like the book, the novel, and really just beefing up and enhancing the original book of the musical. Mm-hmm. Where I think it probably actually helped tell the story.
First, there is a release date set. It's November 21st,
Thank
2025. God. So, same. Almost and to the day.
I hope they
stick with that.
I don't want to see Wicked Part 2 in the summer because you said something interesting walking out of the theater.
Yeah. It felt like a very not fall, not Christmas. It just felt like a really holiday time movie. Yeah. I think it's because it reminds me of we'll go more into this later, but it kind of reminds me of the early Harry Potters and How the Grinch Stole Christmas, where they had these very fantastical actual sets built.
Yeah.
And it's not just CGI, that's a summertime thing. We're keeping the CGI in the summertime. But these big practical colorful sets feel they relate to me, movies that I watched during holiday time.
I've never thought of it like that, about practicality being
but also maybe, you know what it might be as well? It might also be a nostalgia thing. Because all those movies that I mentioned are all early 2000s. Before we got really, really big, too deep into the CGI.
Right. Well, my thing is, I feel and I could be wrong, and I may be wrong for a bunch of examples, but some big examples of movie musicals in the last, I'm going to say 15 years, but really I'm going back 12 years, which is crazy. Les Mis came out around Christmas time. Mm-hmm. La La Land came out around Christmas time. I think The Greatest Showman was around the holidays. I think West Side Story came out around the holidays. So I just associate musicals with the fall because I feel especially really since movie musicals have been a thing, that's Oscar bait, right? That's award season stuff. So that's kind of where my mind went.
The Greatest Showman came out December 20th, 2017. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, I think. And especially
you think Stone Cold doesn't know his movie musicals? Give me a hell yeah. Wait, no.
If you think Stone Cold Steve Austin knows... Wait. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't know his movie musicals.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's
there
fine.
You go.
But yeah, I think it's also you're probably more likely to be with family also during these times. And these are all, well, maybe not Les Mis, but they're all musicals that
it's a very Christian overtone show. Yeah, I think families are taking their kids
to Les Mis.
Hey, listen, my family took me to see The Passion of the Christ.
That's a whole separate thing.
And
we can't even get into that.
I was maybe in fifth grade.
Your family loved showing you traumatic shit. The Selena movie.
Selena, La Bamba.
La Bamba. No.
Hey, anyone listening, how old were you when you were forced to watch either Selena or La Bamba?
Yeah, that's very much a cultural thing. I've never seen either of those films, nor would my parents show them to me as a child.
Boys in the Hood, that was another one I watched when I was probably way too young.
What's the most traumatic movie I watched when I was a kid? The Strangers. That scarred me for life, actually. Yeah, that did scar me.
Well, that's a whole other.
That's a whole other
can of worms. Horror movies, which you can listen to me talk about on John/John.
You never plug John/John.
I know, and I love that guy. Those guys.
He's like, I'm talking about myself, not the other John.
Anyway, but yeah, no, so it just opened up, and it does feel very much like a holiday movie, and I mean, apparently, that you could not avoid the marketing for this movie, but apparently, it is paying off like gangbusters because this movie's on track. Last I saw, as of this recording, it's on track to make about 114 million. I wouldn't be surprised if the final opening weekend numbers were much higher.
Yeah.
But I mean, for a movie that had $150 budget and it
$150?
Yeah, it was they got it on the fucking cheap. $150 million. For a movie, it almost remade its entire production budget
in the first weekend.
That's just domestic numbers.
And yeah, that doesn't even take into consideration all of you were mentioning it's only the production budget, but I also wonder how much like the marketing budget is compared to the merch sold profit is.
I mean, they have the pop-up store at Universal. They've got everything at Target. They have so much marketing. They have so much marketing that they had a mystery color mac and cheese great value collab at Walmart.
Pink mac and cheese?
Pink mac and cheese or green mac and cheese. Listen, when we were kids, we ate that green ketchup up for fucking Shrek.
Yes, we did, and it was fucking delicious.
Because it was ketchup.
No, I think they added a little something to it.
They said, fucking, here's a little ogre for you.
Was it supposed to be like, what was it supposed to be? Please tell me it wasn't supposed to be like boogers.
I think it was just supposed to be green.
It's just supposed to be green?
Yeah, I don't
They're
think
like, don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
It's green tomatoes. Don't think about it too hard.
Green tomatoes.
I didn't know if it was like themed.
But anyway.
Anyway.
So, yeah, the movie's making a fuck ton of money.
Which we knew it would. But it's also...
Did we? Because the last time...
Yeah, we knew that it would.
We knew this one was going to make money. The girlies love Wicked.
Yeah.
The gays, the theys, they all love Wicked.
Everyone loves Wicked.
Well,
do you know
now.
now.
I'm not... So, let's give our general...
The backstory of our Wicked knowledge.
No, I was just going to say... I wasn't going to go there yet, but I was just going to say just a general reaction to Wicked. Kendra, what did you think?
2 thumbs up.
2 green thumbs up.
1 green, 1 very, very white. Pallid.
Jesus.
I don't even, you know what, I'm not, well,
I've never seen her that shade.
It is kind of Ariana Grande, I guess, right now, but like, that is the most white I've ever seen a person in my life. Anyway, I really, really liked it. Oh my God, I sound like you. You say that all the time. Guys, I really, really liked it. But here's the thing. I'm going to sneak in my knowledge of Wicked.
Please do.
I saw Wicked in a touring production when they came to Tampa when I was in high school. I don't remember any of it. I was so excited to see it. I don't remember any of it. But I feel like at the end I was like, okay. Because I was in high school and you were supposed to like Wicked in high school. But I didn't know. I just saw it. We also didn't have very great seats, if I remember correctly. So I consider myself going into it like mostly blind. Like I didn't remember all of the plot points, and the only songs I really knew were like Popular and Defying Gravity, because those are the most popular songs ever in the world.
Right.
So all that going in, like I wasn't super like diehard Wicked, which I think has its pros and cons. Like I didn't really have any expectation as far as like faithful adaptation to the musical. I've also never read the book, so I don't have any bias towards like they need to follow everything in the book to the letter.
Right.
So I think that helps me not be so critical about it because I had nothing really to compare it to. I didn't even remember the musical. So like it was truly a fresh blank slate. So I didn't go in with any like plot-wise pre-knowledge or like existing expectation or anything like that.
Yeah.
But also I was like not super emotionally committed when I sat down in my seat. They had to build all that up from the ground. I'm not coming in already loving these characters. Except Glinda, who I do love. But only because she's like so pink and so girly pop. This is the perfect time for a girly pop movie like this. Anyway, but all that said, it really, again, I didn't have like a lot of expectations, and it really exceeded all of my expectations. It was more beautiful visually than I thought it was going to be. Only because, like, I think there was some concern when the first trailer came out because it wasn't, I mean, it's not the final product.
Yeah.
It's not the final product. So I think people weren't sure how, like, actually hard they were going to lean into the Technicolor, like, Oz.
Yeah.
That we've seen in The Wizard of Oz. But they really delivered on that. And like I said, the practical sets, that was something that I'm sitting in the theater and I'm like, oh my God, like, these are practical sets. Yeah. I noticed it. That's how good it was.
Yeah.
And it was like seamless because it's not, of course, 100% practical. There's still some CG and stuff like that and special effects. But the fact that it was like, I don't know, I could feel the scale of everything.
You felt like you were there. Yeah.
Yeah. Going into it, I was a little concerned that it was 2 hours and 40 fucking minutes. Jesus. Because I'm like, is the musical that long? I don't know about that. Like the first act of the musical?
Yeah.
Probably not. But it did not feel like it dragged. The storytelling, I think, was really well done. We had a lot of stuff to be introduced to and a lot of like Easter eggs for part 2, but also for The Wizard of Oz and also for the book, I presume, and all that stuff. And also the original Wizard of Oz, like, books, because there's differences from the original books to The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
Anyway. What else is there to say? This isn't a very general overview. I think I'm just telling you my entire review right now. But all of that said and considered, they were like the super touching moments. And yeah, I think it makes sense now. I was kind of on that boat of like, why are they splitting it into 1 and 2? It feels like when they split fucking the last Twilight book into 2.
They didn't
need to do that.
A lot. The last Harry Potter, the last fucking.
They didn't.
What was it? The Hunger Games.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I didn't see those, but this, with the level of detail they were achieving and the amount of shit that they had to set up, there's a lot of characters and a lot of backstory to set up. It makes sense to me why they needed a part 2, and the ending was like the perfect place to end. I mean, it's the intermission of the show for a reason. Right. So, yeah, it's just, guys, I hate to say it, but it was really, really good. And I want to see it again.
Yeah. So the very first thing, actually, I'm gonna do what you did. I'm gonna say kind of where I come from with Wicked.
Yeah.
So I do not have, or at least prior to this, I did not have any sort of like sentimental or emotional connection to it. I've never seen the show. I don't think I've ever listened to the full cast recording the full way through, only because this was a show that, and the music from it was like something that, and this is maybe, I'll take this if this is like a toxic trait, right?
Uh-oh.
No. It was something that became like what I didn't like about the show, just as a concept, as a thing, is what I think fans of the show had turned it into, which was this like American idolized version of the story, which was like everything became about the belt, the riffs.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And like the vocal acrobatics.
It's more of the performance, every performance needing to top the one before.
Right, and I don't necessarily blame the performers for that, because they're there to do their job, but also now that the audience is expecting that,
right,
or audiences are expecting that, so now that we kind of strip away that aspect and we're watching this film where you can tell this story, I come from a place of like, I'm not very emotionally connected to it. I have no sentimental memory to go along with this. And I was just never really much of a fan. I liked some of the music. I've performed some of the music at, like back in college and stuff. But that was about it. So much like everybody else, when I heard it was being made into 2 parts, I'm like, that seems like a cash grab. What the fuck? And then we sat down for the movie. And again, I went in with a completely open mind. And because of like my just lack of experience or just exposure to the show as a whole, I actually felt like that helped me in this instance, because I really came into it with pretty fresh eyes and a pretty open mind. I never go into a movie hoping it's going to be bad.
Especially when you spend $30 to be there,
right,
and to bring a date.
So, all that said, when we got done watching the movie, the first thing I turned to you and I said, holy shit, they fucking did it. They made a really amazing Wicked movie.
Yeah.
I loved this movie. Yeah, I thought the story was beautiful. I thought just watching the relationship between these two people who were just like at complete odds with one another form a sisterhood. And just I thought the musical performances were beautiful. I think the story they're telling is really moving and a lot more political than I thought it was going to be. I was not expecting this whole subplot of the movie. Which, I mean, when you put in today's time, this male leader who's talking about everything.
A fraud.
he wants to do for the people. He's doing all of this for the people. And through that, he's, punishing the educated and locking them in cages and people who are different and getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It was like more explicit than I thought it was going to be, because I heard people talking about it and they're like, oh guys, don't worry, like they kept the themes in the musical, so like if you'll know, like
right.
It's still there. Listen, I mean, some people, I do question their common sense and their media literacy, but like it was very overt to me, which is the whole point of Wicked. So if you're mad about that, get over it. It's the entire point of Wicked.
Which, I mean, I appreciate, and I again, my lack of knowledge of the show, I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. I think the runtime, the only time I felt the runtime, it had nothing to actually do with the movie. I wore fleece joggers to the movie, and in that leather seat, boy, was I feeling it. I was burning up at one point.
It was cold outside for Florida. It was like 65 degrees, so we had to
a little colder than
bundle up.
But yeah, so I was burning up in that movie theater. But that was it. That was the only time I had thought about the runtime. The rest of it, I was pretty captivated by the story they were telling. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I ended up loving, and I think that's what makes me like the movie even more, is that I really had no expectation going into it. I figured I would like it. It didn't pack the emotional punch for me that I was expecting, but that's okay. That's not me taking any points away from the movie. I cry at everything, so that's why.
You did almost cry at part of it.
There was one moment in the movie where I was like, ooh, if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen now. I
felt the same way. For those who know, have we done any spoilers so far? Is this going to be spoiler free?
We can do minor spoiler. I mean, it's Wicked. I feel like anyone listening to this episode
will have seen it.
There'll be some minor spoilers. Nothing too crazy.
For those who've seen it, it's the dance scene.
Yeah.
That's not like Dancing Through Life. Them at the dance scene.
And I love that scene because, like, I don't know, like it would have been so easy to just be like, oh, they spent enough time together, eventually they're going to be friends.
Yeah.
But like you have this whole moment of like Nessa Rose wanting to do something nice for Galinda, and even though Alphaba didn't want to, she's like, well, I love my sister, so I'm going to help her do something nice for her. It's like you see in real time, like someone suck up their pride to help their sister. Again, their ungrateful ass sister. And then someone who's like, people only ever do things for her because either because she's kind of like entitled and like, you know, so someone actually being kind to her, not for superficial reasons, and someone sucking up their pride and being kind to someone. I don't know. It was a really beautiful moment. So to see that like manifested in this like dance, it was really gorgeous. I think that was another moment that I was like, oh fuck, I think I love this movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just so much to go. Cynthia Erivo, just phenomenal. Ariana Grande, I would not. I think I'm on the same boat as everyone else. I would not be surprised if she is nominated for an Oscar for this movie. Yeah, I'm not. Again, I'm not the biggest Ari fan.
Yeah.
I think she's amazingly talented, like as a vocalist. But I think she reminded everyone why her roots are in acting.
Yeah.
With this movie.
Yeah. I'm also, I feel bad talking about Ariana Grande recently, but I'm also not the biggest like fan of how she navigates life, let's say.
Sometimes she makes,
sometimes the decisions she makes are, they're interesting choices that I personally will not make for myself. But she's so fucking talented. She's so talented. It's crazy to see her. There were certain times where I'm watching her and I'm like, this is giving like a little bit Kat Valentine, her character from Victorious. Just like a little bit. But for the most part, like completely, I mean, you can see it even now in interviews. She's like a completely different person.
Yeah.
For better or for worse. But like she really dug deep into Glinda, if you will, if you're nasty. But the thing that I hope people realize now, because again, I love Victorious. I knew this the whole time. Ariana Grande is really fucking funny.
Yeah.
She has great comedic timing. And it shows in this.
I was fucking yucking it up.
You were larfing.
Like, I was laughing that whole time. Anytime she was on screen doing what... Because she also did these just little small nuances that I'm like, that's so fucking funny. Like, it was pretty early into the movie where... Oh, it was when the teacher kept saying her name wrong.
Yeah.
And at one point she just goes... It's like, that's so fucking funny to me.
She is really funny. Fuck.
Yeah, so... But, yeah, I mean... And again, Cynthia Erivo... I had no
doubt. I had no doubt. That's the thing.
And again,
she's too good.
I was bringing in this, like, man, I really hope they're not going to, like, lean into the vocal acrobatics. And I mean, she's a brilliant fucking performer. Yeah. So, like, you know, it wasn't necessarily a her thing. But again, it's just like, how much are they going to take what the audience of the show expects, right? And she found such a great medium of, like medium place to tell. Again, when you're someone, I'm gonna.
Oh no! I hear it coming. Oh no!
So I literally teach like acting through song. Like, right? I teach that to adults and to teens and children. So I always get a little worried when people want to focus on just what the voice can do. Mm-hmm. And if you're singing it in a concert, that's fine. But when you're telling a story, like, it can't just be that. Like, there's got to be a reason for it. Mm-hmm. So the Wizard and I and Defying Gravity, like, all of the riffs in there, it serves the story either for expressing some sort of emotion. So whether it's pain or anger or joy and, like, optimism, right? Like, and that's where I'm like, oh my God, she fucking did it. Like, and I had no doubts, right? But, yeah, it was a nice surprise for me. Cause again, like that's me projecting my own negative feelings toward the stage production, bringing that in. So anyway, I could nerd out all day about the choices they've made in this, but the whole cast, really, like, they just brought it. Jeff Goldblum.
The whole cast. Huh. Interesting.
Oh, who are we talking about? Do tell. There was one person we booed when they showed up on screen.
You know what? Maybe it's just a consequence of not having a lot of stuff to do and a lot of screen time this time around. But Bach, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Who knows? He's just kind of there. He's just kind of there. No impression. It's just Bach. And again, hey, listen, maybe in part 2, there's more for him to do and he does it. But this time around,
she could give a fuck about
he was just
Bach.
kind of like in the corner. Okay, Bach.
Yeah.
And listen, I've never seen anything Ethan Slater has ever been in.
SpongeBob.
Has there been other stuff? Surely there has.
Yeah, I'm sure there has. I think he was in Spam a lot, but didn't see that production.
So maybe, maybe I'm missing something and it's just going to come later, but...
He was good in SpongeBob.
But in this, listen, you have a lot of very strong presences in that. So, like...
Yeah, fair enough.
Someone's going to have to be on a different caliber.
Yeah.
And it was Bach.
Yeah, fair enough. He didn't bother me, so maybe that's what I meant. Like, he was just kind of in the background right now.
He didn't bother
but he didn't do
to perform. I'm just kidding.
Him pity asking out Nessa was kind of shitty.
That was fucked up. But you know what?
But you know what other man did shine in this fucking movie? Jonathan Bailey.
Yeah. You're fine. He's gay. That's the only thing stopping me. No, just kidding.
He was phenomenal.
I've only ever seen him in Bridgerton. So I had no idea that he could do a sing-song and do a dancey dance.
I think he was in Company. I think he was in the West End revival of Company.
It wouldn't surprise me if he's over there across the pond doing all these things. But I've never seen any of it. So I'm not... My ears aren't open to it, so I had no clue. Yeah. Which is really nice, because it was, like, such a pleasant surprise.
That he was, like, good.
Yeah, he was really, really good. And you mentioned it when we were leaving. He did, like, his own choreography or, like, whatever stunts.
He did the choreo for that whole fucking thing.
Which is crazy, because there's some complex footwork in there.
He was flipping around. He did, like, that front flip.
He did do, he did do a little bit aerobatic.
Yeah, that was really cool. And even that, the fucking spinning bookcases, that was practical. That was real.
That was practical. Yeah. And at certain angles, because it's a circle, but the ladders on the inside made a Z. So it said Oz. And I learned that from the Architectural Digest. I didn't see that part. They did a video a couple days ago on, it was like the set designer was walking you through all these different sets, and that was really cool if you're interested in that kind of stuff, because it showed you like the scale, like the main shiz, horrible name,
don't like the name of that.
The main shiz set, because again, it's a practical set. It was like 50 feet between like the base level and what they had to build up for the school, because if you remember, they're coming in on boats, and he gives this like huge explanation on why they had to come in on boats. I'm sitting in the movie, I'm not thinking about that. I don't care.
Right.
Sure, they're coming in on boats. It must be like Italy. I don't know. You just boat up to places. Or Florida, where I'm from. But it's like there's an actual reason. There's a huge... Like, someone thought a lot about why they're coming in on boats.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Anyway, so I suggest you watch that if you're interested.
I completely agree, and I can't wait to learn more about the movie. I can't wait to see the movie again.
I want to see a documentary about the making of the movie.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to get that.
And assembled.
Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible. I love, again, getting these big names. Sometimes you worry about, like, how much are they just bringing them in just to, like, bring them in, like, to get big names. But just to see how... She comes off as like kind of cold to kind of caring to really diabolical at the end.
She does it really well. I never was sure, because again, I don't know anything about the show.
Right.
But I remember her in the trailer, stop putting so much stuff in trailers.
Right.
Saying like the Wicked Witch, blah 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 blah. So I'm like, okay, she's probably some sort of baddie.
Right.
But even from the beginning, she comes off so like genuinely kind.
Right.
That I was like, maybe I'm wrong. And then things would flip-flop. Like, she'd give a little something and her eyes would change. And I'd be like, wait a minute. Maybe she is a bad guy. And then she'd go back to being nice.
And Jeff Goldblum, perfectly cast.
If anyone,
I'm saying it here, perfectly cast in this movie.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum, listen, he's Jeff Goldblum. And he does play Jeff Goldblum in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And this was Jeff Goldblum playing Jeff Goldblum again, but like a little sinister.
Right.
A little sinister Goldblum. But I mean, yeah, you knew he could sing. Why? Because he was Rachel Berry's dad on Glee. And I don't know whether or not it was him doing that dance behind the screen, but if that was him, I don't think it was, but if it was, kudos. Yeah, he's moving and grooving.
But yeah, I don't know. And I don't know how like clear or like how devastating learning that he is powerless, right? But like, and like we know that from like the Wizard of Oz, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know, just it's like the reveal still works that why they need Elphaba, and it's like once you see the curtain come down, the metaphorical curtain of him, you know, oh well, we need you, and this could all be yours, but really it's because I need your power.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, distraction. I need to fuck shit up, and I need you to do it for me because I can't fucking do it. Anyway, so like, the whole movie worked for me. The runtime didn't bother me, except for the fact that I overheated in my chair a little bit.
Yeah, I also purposefully didn't drink anything for like an hour beforehand because I didn't want to have to go to the bathroom. So. And
I would have shouted out our fucking theater, all the people that were with us. We had one little fucking nerd. They were having a good time. Too good of a time. They decided they wanted to sing along a little bit. They stopped after this because I think they knew they were foolish. During Popular, they got the timing wrong for the lar, and they said it before Miss Ariana did it.
Ruined it.
Ruined the movie. I walked out.
John, just out of curiosity, do you remember what part of Wicked that I had been singing for a week before the movie came out? Popular, lar.
Yeah.
I was so excited to hear that live and in person in the theater, and she fucking ruined it for me.
Speaking of, I mean, that number alone. Okay, before we wrap up, our final thoughts, which we've kind of shared most of them by this point, but like a couple of really favorite, maybe musical numbers.
Okay.
I really loved What Is This Feeling? See, that's the one that like holds a little bit of value, sentimental, because I did that song in my senior showcase.
Aww.
That and another one from Act 2. For Good. We did For Good. So, and then we heard that in high school all the time. So,
yeah.
Anyway, but I loved how that one was filmed. And this was directed by John M. Chu, by the way. We didn't say that at the beginning, but I think a lot of people know that by now. Same director of In the Heights. So if you haven't seen In the Heights, I recommend, if you need more musical movies in your life, go check out In the Heights.
You must.
It's also brilliantly directed.
It's so good.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we can't. I really love What Is This Feeling? I did love The Wizard and I don't know why. I don't know why that one surprised me so much. I think it's just Cynthia Erivo's performance. And Dancing Through Life was another amazing one. And I'm pretty obsessed with how they did Defying Gravity. They really elongated that song to like add all the scenes and stuff before it. But like it worked. I think the tension and just emotion they built through that number and through what was happening on screen, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah,
I gotta admit. So those are a couple favorites. I know that's basically half the movie.
I have to agree with you. I can't think of like a musical number that was bad or that I didn't like as much as the others.
Yeah,
I feel like Defying Gravity is so, like, you could tell that they were like, this one has to be the one.
We can't fuck this up.
We can't.
It's the end of the movie.
It's the end of the film. So like that one, and Popular, because I was so excited to hear Popular, because it was like the one song that I actually knew some of the words to. And then Dancing Through Life, because I don't remember that song at all.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I've ever heard that song before, even though I did sit and watch the show. So, but just the way that they did it and how cool the dance sequences were. yeah, I think that's also up there as one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I want to say, because we forgot to mention it, but we both agreed on it, that numbers like Dancing Through Life, what they were able to do with it, and like what they were able to do with the whole world that they created, is so much more successful, in my opinion, as a movie than as anything else.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we liked the movie so much, and we're so like whatever about the show. I mean, you never saw it.
Right.
But you also didn't try to see it because you didn't care to see it.
Right.
But just like, this is a fantastical, magical world. That sticks so much better. That comes across so much clearer, and just better.
Yeah.
As a movie than as a stage production.
Yeah. I hope that this movie, the effect of this movie is, one, we get more big budget movie musicals.
Starlight Express. I'm calling it now. Next one.
Holy shit.
Starlight Express.
Maybe not that one. Maybe another crack at Phantom before we do Starlight Express.
We did Phantom already. We did Cats. Why not Starlight Express? They're having a revival over in the West End. Have you heard about it? One of the trains made it into a girl. It was a guy, and now it's a girl train. Hello, woke media, woke left. Why are you changing my singing rollerblade trains?
Touching my musicals.
I personally felt very connected to that train that sung and was on roller skates. That was a man.
Oh my god. Anyway, but anyway, final thoughts. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's gonna continue to make fucking boatloads of money, and I think it's got Oscar season written all over it. I wouldn't be surprised if it cleaned house, at least in terms of nominations. But yeah, it was amazing. I gotta say, I'm gonna eat my words here. Not that I thought it was going to be bad.
Yeah, you never said that.
But I think I'm more surprised at how much I liked it, considering I'm not much of a fan of the show. And I'm excited for the next one. I'm excited for Wicked Part 2.
I echo all of those sentiments. I liked it way more than I thought I would. Again, not saying that I didn't think I would like it. I just didn't realize how much I would enjoy it and feel connected to it. Love, again, I mentioned it the very first time we saw a trailer, the micro braids. The micro braids. Thank you. That was actually my favorite part, was the micro braids. I'm just like, I'm also really glad to see, because again, the themes of it, the themes of Wicked, which are so obvious, were kept and done justice. So I really, the fact that so many people are getting their eyes on it, hopefully that awakens a little critical thinking in their brains.
And if you want to have a good conversation about it, let us know.
Let us know if you want a good conversation about it. But yeah, I loved it. I'm excited for it to... I understand now why they have already started pre-orders for the digital copies. Yeah, I might get one. It was so good. And I'm excited to see it again, and I'm excited for the second part. And I really hope the second part is as good as the first part. Now this is the thing. They have to stick this landing.
They got to stick the landing. But if there was this much care and attention to this, I think we're going to get a really stellar sequel.
Yeah.
In John M. Chu, we trust. Yeah. Great first name. Strong. Powerful. What?
Because it's your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, quickly moving to a different form of theater here, just to touch on it a little bit. We had a pretty big reveal on the last edition of SmackDown. As we barrel toward Survivor Series War Games, we finally answered the question, who is the fifth member? I was for sure it was going to be Seth freaking Rollins.
Yeah. I mean, he told us multiple times it's not going to be me, right. And we didn't believe him.
I was so sure of it. But I also knew I did not fucking fall a second time for the idea that some member of the real life, like, family bloodline would be making their main roster debut at Survivor Series in a War Games match. That
That is
just
a bit
doesn't
much.
like that defies logic. It defies gravity. Okay. But I really had no idea. I made a joke once that it would be Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
and I was like, if they're actually going this way, like
They're
they're making a huge fucking gamble here, because I don't think people are going to be happy about it.
I certainly wouldn't.
But then we hear the voice of one Mr. Paul Heyman. Love that guy. Glad he's back. I was screaming when I saw him back.
I know.
And then he said 5v5. Now, earlier in the night, I made a joke saying, hey, it's probably going to be CM Punk because of blah, 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 blah. And what do we hear?
John fully 100% called it as a joke, but he called it. I think you also mentioned something about Paul Heyman coming back, or was that me?
Well, you asked if Paul Heyman was going to come back, and I said, I don't know.
Oh, because I was like, what if Paul saw that Roman was trying to call him and was like, skip the phone call, I'll just show up.
Right.
And he did.
Listen, does it make immediate 100% sense that CM Punk is in this match? Maybe not.
They'll tell us why it makes sense later.
Here's the thing. Sometimes, with wrestling specifically, sometimes things are just fun. And, like, this is me. I'm not saying Kendra. I'm not saying anyone else has to feel this way. But sometimes, if it's fun and it's entertaining, that's all I really need sometimes. If the story makes complete sense immediately, great. That's fine. I love that. But sometimes things are just fun little surprises.
Yeah.
And I thought this was 100% fun. Now, looking forward, here's why I think this could actually be the best option for this.
Okay.
One, I don't know if, like, people are thinking there's some secret, like, heel turn that we're going to see from Jimmy and Paul Heyman against Roman. I don't know about that. And if it does, if they make it make sense, cool. But for this, I'm like, okay, they tried to ask Seth several times. Mm-hmm. They even got Seth's, like, fucking rival right now, Bronson Reed, on the other team. But who else does Seth Rollins fucking hate besides Bronson Reed and Roman Reigns?
CM Punk.
So it makes, and I think it actually, the more I think about it, makes the most sense to have CM Punk here to officially start this program he'll do with Seth freaking Rollins. That's what I've been thinking about.
Who injured CM Punk this most recent time?
It was himself when he fucking fought Drew McIntyre in Hell in a Cell.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't, like, officially injured. He was just like, I'm all broken up here, bitch. I can't work.
Okay, yes, I remember now. I wasn't sure if it was someone that was on, like, OG Bloodline or New Bloodline.
No.
We got to figure out different names. But yeah, I mean, it also makes sense just from the context of, like, they're trying to reach out to Paul Heyman. Who would Paul Heyman know or trust to put into this match? There aren't very many Paul Heyman guys.
There was someone on TikTok that pointed out that CM Punk wasn't there for Roman Reigns' title run, where his reign of terror.
Yeah.
So he has no reason to, like, really
fear that again.
Hate Roman Reigns, like, have any bad blood specifically with Roman Reigns.
I guess you're right.
He wasn't there for it.
Yeah.
And when he was there, he was injured.
That's true. And he was, like, dealing with other people.
Right.
Yeah.
And also canonically, Paul Heyman, this was on WWE TV, was like, it was at my request that CM Punk is off limits.
Yeah.
You know, so you got no beef with the Tribal Chief, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, all of these things, like, it makes so much more sense than we actually think at first, just because of the shock factor.
Yeah.
But I was curious if CM Punk would be there because he made his return to WWE at Survivor Series. So now I feel like that's kind of synonymous with him.
Okay.
At this point. So that's what I felt. Man, last year around this time, I was still on my, like, CM Punk hater train. And, like, I don't know, man. Like, I think I've lightened up on the hate a little bit. He is pretty entertaining in there when he's happy.
healthy enough to fight.
Yeah, when he's not fucking starting fights backstage.
That's the thing, is that not even that part of it, but just like watching him wrestle now is scary to me. People who like get injured all the time, watching them wrestle freaks me out a little bit. Like this, when Tegan Nox was there, every time she would wrestle, it freaked me out.
Every time Dakota Kai's in there.
Every time Dakota Kai wrestles, it freaks me out. And now every time CM Punk wrestles, it freaks me out. Because I'm like, you're brittle.
Right.
Someone's going to snap. But yeah, I'm also looking forward to it just from like the names alone. I'm also someone, I had no like knowledge of CM Punk before this, except for just like he was an asshole.
Right.
It's just what I heard. And that's probably true. But...
Yeah. But also sometimes he says stuff
but
that
then
you're
sometimes
like...
he's like a nice person.
You're like, damn, you're at least caring and like thoughtful about people other than yourself.
I just feel like sometimes he doesn't really fully think through the words that he says and how they'll impact people. Yeah. Anyway, but just like, yeah, I think this is going to be obviously a really strong match no matter who they would have put in. But the fact that it is CM Punk and the fact that it's CM Punk after like a hiatus.
Yeah.
It just bumps the excitement of it even higher. And like you said, there's no real reason for him to team with Roman Reigns and the OG Bloodline, but also there's no real reason for him to not
answer Paul's call.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see story-wise what this means going forward.
I mean, he and Seth are still on Raw, so I really think that's where we're going to.
Do you think
Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, maybe at WrestleMania?
Do you think Seth Rollins is like, damn, I should have said yes? Do you think Seth Rollins is like, I should have said yes to Solo?
Maybe.
Damn.
To get his hands on fucking CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I don't know. Anyway, but that's the fun part of wrestling, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to make sense 100% of the time, every time. Now, if it makes no fucking sense, Brock Lesnar turning heel on Cody Rhodes out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
That's dumb. That's weird.
Stupid.
Go for 3 pay-per-views, steal Bad Bunny's main event. Anyway, sorry, I'm not bitter. But it's fine. It's fine and it's fun. Anyway, I think that about does it for us.
I'm Sweepy.
Yeah, we're gonna fuck off. Thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of Ringside. If you're not already, please follow us on all the various socials. Just click all the ones down there. Follow, subscribe, all that jazz. Be sure to share this episode anywhere, everywhere. If you like Wicked, if you loved it, if you hated it, whatever. Let us know what you think about what's happening in WWE right now, especially with the War Games Survivor Series match. And yeah, just let us know all the things.
Yeah.
All right. I think that does it.
Hold on. Flip.
Oh.
What'd you do?
Flip.
I can't do it. I don't have, listen, the hair for that right now. She's not moving. She's not flipping.
Oh, I made myself dizzy. All right, we gotta get out of here.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
See ya.